welcome to this Monday, October the 24th edition of the Ringside Report. I am Ryan Young, Tony out today, as it's Monday, and before we get talking about wrestling, obviously there's something I would like to talk about before that, and that is of course what took place Saturday night. Congratulations to the Chicago Cubs. They are your 2016 National League champions. They win their first pennant since 1945, and I'm pretty sure anyone that watches this probably wasn't born in 1945. And a lot of people that maybe watch this isn't a Cub fan. And the life of a Cub fan is, I talked about this on my podcast, is something you cannot explain. If you're a diehard, you live and die with this team. And year after year, you've seen disappointment after disappointment where things just don't go your way. And you get used to that. You get accustomed to it. You're not used to things going your way. You're not used to seeing your team winning. You're not used to seeing, and most people I know weren't even around the last time they were in a World Series. It's just the way it is when you're a Chicago Cub fan. That all changed on Saturday night. The Cubs win 5-0 over the Dodgers. I know this is a wrestling show, but the Cubs are the top thing on my list all the time. I've been to games where they've lost 19-0 on my 21st birthday, but I've also been to games where they've been able to walk off and win. And I am proud and honored to have this shirt, the 2016 National League champions. And there's one shirt left to get, and that'll be the World Series one. Of course, the World Series starts tomorrow night, 7 p.m. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. The reason I might be talking a little slow is, part of me, it hasn't really sinked in yet that the Cubs are in the World Series. And of course, throughout this next week, I will be covering wrestling, obviously. But my attention is mainly on my Cubs. So, but congratulations to the Cubs. And hopefully this is a fun final week. They get a step farther than they did last year. But they have a chance, 4 more wins away from doing something they haven't done in 108 years. Okay, let's start this thing off by recapping Impact from Thursday night. It started off with Cody coming out with his wife, Brandy, and then Eddie Edwards coming out, and Cody saying he is going to win because he gets a title match later on the night. He gets that opportunity, but of course he says he is going to be the next TNA World Champion, and then Lashley comes out and says, don't forget, because there's a #1 contender match coming up with him and Moose, and the winner of that gets a world title match, and then Moose comes out, and then that match begins. Your #1 contender for the TNA World title. Lashley defeats Moose, so he's back in the #1 contendership. Eli Drake interviews Aaron Rex. I love just everything about Eli Drake yells star. I think on a bigger stage like WWE, if they gave him that same platform, this guy would be great. Or he's great anyway, but I mean, he'd get that more exposure. He's been tremendous. Aaron Rex kind of playing a heel, as of course he interviews EC3, what turns into Jesse Goddard's coming out, and just a bunch of crazy stuff going on. And EC3, so I believe a tag match has been announced for next week. EC3 and Jesse Goddard's against Eli Drake and Aaron Rex. TNA Tag Team titles on the line. The Hardys defeat the Tribunal. Then the Tribunal are attacked by a bunch of masked men, saying they are here to take over TNA. Not sure who they are. I've heard rumors about it, but until something's officially announced, I'm not going to go there and say that. Maria comes out with Laurel and Allie, and then it eventually turns out they beat up Allie, but they continue to pick on her. I'm eventually waiting for the turn there, and I believe Allie will go one-on-one against Laurel next week on TNA Impact. Mike Bennett defeats Mahabali Sheridan for the TNA World title. Eddie Edwards defeats Cody, and Eddie Edwards is still your world champion. Now he moves on to get a chance once again against Lashley. Lashley won his Bellator fight on Friday, so congratulations to him, and of course going back and forth between both. Not as serious when you work on a TNA schedule because you don't tape a lot, or you don't wrestle a lot. And so, congratulations to Lashley, so he'll be getting back in the world title picture. We'll see how that goes. But a pretty good Impact on Thursday night. We're going to take a time out here. When we come back, it's time to preview Raw for tonight. The Beast is back. That's next on the Ringside Report. Welcome back here on the Ringside Report for this Monday. Tony out, like I said. He'll be hopefully back on Wednesday. I don't know how I'll be on Wednesday. That'll be after Game 2 of the World Series, but we record that on Tuesday, so I'll more be nervous. So mainly Friday show, check up on me, and of course Friday will be Game 3 of the first World Series game played at Wrigley Field since '45. So check on me there. For Wednesday show I should be okay still. Friday show we'll find out. Let's preview Raw for tonight. Of course, last week, after the return for the first time in 12 years, Bill Goldberg accepted the challenge of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar returns tonight to Minneapolis, Minnesota in the Target Center. Will we find out? Will we find out the match, the date set for WWE's Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg? Is it going to happen and everyone's saying it at Survivor Series? Will it be at Survivor Series? Are they going to push this back to WrestleMania? Because, of course, WrestleMania tickets go on sale in less than a month. So, possibly trying to get some early buys on that. And, of course, Ringside Report will be at their third consecutive WrestleMania this year in Orlando. So, of course, we will have full coverage of that. And, of course, a lot of fun stuff to happen before that also. But, so you have this. And, what does Brock... And I'm sure it's going to be Paul Heyman. What are they going to say? Are we going to get the match set? Because, of course, now that the match has been accepted by Bill Goldberg, now you got to see what Brock Lesnar comes in and what he's going to say. Is he going to agree? Are they going to set the date? Is it going to be November 20th at the Air Canada Center in Toronto? Is that when we're going to see this match? And I mean, a lot of people wondering, is this going to be a one Goldberg stated, this is your last? But is this really going to be his last opportunity? Is he going to get more? Is he going to get maybe? Because again, he was very over last Monday night on Raw, Bill Goldberg. So I think you got to think that he's going to. That's going to be very. It's going to be. I'm sure WWE is going to want him to come back. They already got his merchandise available, so it's going to be fun to see when. And hopefully we'll find out tonight whether or not Bill Goldberg, Brock Lesnar will be at Survivor Series. If I had to put money on it, I'd say then. But on the back of my mind, you got to think. I don't think they'd be hyping this this far in advance for WrestleMania 33 in Orlando. Also, we are less than a week away from Hell in a Cell on October 30th. This Sunday, 6 days away. Of course, Kevin Owens will be going one-on-one against Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. You got the Women's Championship, our first ever women's match inside of the cell between Charlotte and Sasha Banks. And also you'll have Roman Reigns defend his United States title against Rusev inside the Hell in a Cell. So that is going to be exciting. Hell in a Cell. And of course you're going to see probably fallout of all that coming up in the next, probably all that. And of course Roman Reigns, Rusev, to me, kind of boring a little bit. So hopefully that Hell in a Cell match will be the capper on it. And hopefully it'll be a very good reign. And hopefully it'll be a very fun match coming up at Hell in a Cell, of course, like I said, this Sunday. And the women's match keeps getting more exciting. I mean, Charlotte and Sasha Banks, two obviously very talented women. I think it's going to be fun to see how these two handle it. Vince McMahon's already denied Charlotte to do a moonsault off the top of the cell, so I'm sure we're going to see some good spots there and see how women, for the first time in WWE history, will handle the Hell in a Cell. So that should be exciting also. So that should be fun. On October 30th, which is going to be a very interesting day. That is next Sunday when Hell in a Cell takes place. SSW returns to the Broad Stop. That's a 4 to 7 o'clock show, plus Game 5 of the World Series if necessary. So hopefully the Cubs can sweep and not make that such a hard decision for me. As, of course, then you got the pay-per-view. So there's a lot of things going on. Game 5 of the World Series. Hell in a Cell, and of course SSW returns that afternoon. So next Sunday, it will definitely be a busy day. So look forward to that. Okay, so that is Raw tonight from Minneapolis. Should be exciting. Just 6 days away from Hell in a Cell. We're taking time out when we come back. We're going to preview Smackdown for tomorrow night. It's live, and it will, of course, as always, it's on USA. We'll be back on the Ringside Report. Welcome back to the Ringside Report for this Monday. Glad you can be watching. Hoping to start off your week as we get ready for another fun-filled week of professional wrestling. Let's talk a little bit before we preview SmackDown. Of course, Ringside Report is going green for the month of October to raise awareness. Of course, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as you can see in my Yanni shirt I normally wear. But it's also Liver Cancer Awareness Month. My Aunt Jan, aka Tits, was diagnosed with liver cancer maybe around a year ago. She was a little less than a year ago. She just had her transplant about a little less than a month ago. She's in the hospital. She's recovering. I went to see her last week. I went to see her this morning, today. So I'm going to see her today. So fun and exciting to be able to get a chance to see her and see her recover. And I can't wait to see Tits back home as she fights after recovering from a liver cancer. So Tits, keep on fighting. And of course, Ringside Report's going green in your honor. Now it's time to preview SmackDown for tomorrow night. Of course, that's at 7 p.m. on USA. As I think this is going to be a good matchup. I think this is going to be a fun show. Of course, they're building. I mean, there's not much they're in kind of a weird spot right now because, of course, they don't talk about Survivor Series yet because WWE has to get Raw has to get their pay-per-view out of the way. So they're kind of just doing something. And, of course, the last 2 weeks, we've been able to see James Ellsworth be able to get wins over AJ Styles. Last 2 weeks ago, got a win thanks to Dean Ambrose as your referee. Last week, it's a win by disqualification. So therefore, are we going to see more of James Ellsworth? Now, of course, he's not at the point in his career or in WWE to be able to make that opportunity to be able to become win the world title, but I think you definitely got to put in perspective, he is a draw, and I'm sure and that was the #1 selling item in WWE's shop last week was the James Ellsworth shirt, so he's something, and WWE and Vince McMahon knows how to capitalize on them opportunities, so I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in WWE, makes some noise. I mean, but what a way to start. But also, is this diminishing AJ Styles? Because, of course, this guy has been all over the world. He's done a million different things. He's the world champion, and they're having him struggle with a guy that a lot of people haven't even heard of. So is that affecting him? Now, of course, it looks like him and Dean Ambrose are probably going to face each other coming up at Survivor Series. But you got to think that, does he need to put this away? Is tomorrow night the night where he takes away from James Ellsworth, knocks him out, we don't hear from him ever again? I think he needs to do that to make a strong point that, hey, I'm not going to let this guy walk all over me. I'm the world champion, and I think it makes him look like a little bit tougher, and then possibly it leads to Dean Ambrose, and eventually that's what's going to lead to, I think, that match that's going to probably take place at Survivor Series the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So I think right there, that's what you got to really look at, put your mind to, and I think that should be exciting. Now, another thing, so I think what you need to see tomorrow night is AJ Styles take care of James Ellsworth. Now let's talk about, I don't even want to talk about this, but of course it's Kurt Hawkins going to be making his SmackDown debut. Now, of course, last week he was supposed to be in the ring going one-on-one against Apollo Crews. Then Apollo Crews punched him in the face before the match. Then Kurt Hawkins walks away. His match got canceled at at their last pay-per-view. I believe it was No Mercy. So, I mean, you've seen a lot of back-and-forth shenanigans. Let's just see him do the match. I mean, of course, you keep hearing him say, oh, it's Kurt Hawkins time. It's Kurt Hawkins time, yada, yada. Well, let's see Kurt Hawkins have a match. Of course, you're seeing, like you see all the vignettes and all that. We're over it. Let's see him wrestle. Is he going to happen tonight? Probably not. I won't be surprised if this won't happen till Survivor Series. They're going to keep dicking around with that, and we'll see what happens. Also, the women's title picture. You got Alexa Bliss had a very good match against Becky Lynch. That's happening in a couple of weeks in Scotland, I believe, November the 8th, the same night that we find out our new president. So I think that's going to be interesting. Of course, I think they're going to continue to build up Alexa Bliss. You have a lot of momentum going on with Carmella and Nikki Bella, who did a tremendous promo last week. So it should be a lot of exciting stuff coming up tomorrow night as they're getting close. They're hyping towards Survivor Series, and of course Raw tonight, getting ready for Hell in a Cell coming up on Sunday. Also, WWE had a house show in Milwaukee on Saturday. It was announced March 5th, a Sunday. It'll be Fastlane from the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, one of the final pay-per-views before WrestleMania, which is April the 2nd, so that should be fun, and hopefully Ringside Report will get a chance to be there and recap that one. Of course, we're going to be in Chicago for SmackDown next in Chicago, December 27th. And, of course, it'd be fun to be there for the pay-per-view. Of course, we'll be at WrestleMania, but we'd like to get a chance to be at Fastlane. That'll wrap it up for us. Thank you very much for everyone watching. Go Cubs tomorrow, and hopefully I will be happy on Wednesday because the game will have started yet, because we tape on Tuesday. I'm Ryan Youngs, and thank you for watching the Ringside Report, your front row seat to all things wrestling.